Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning. It is Monday, January 3rd, 2021. We are live, the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I'm adding morning to the title because of, well, the need to do something more than just politics because, well, we have to survive. That said, I'm trapped in the closet, as you can see. I wanted us to be in a studio. Our hope was to be in a studio by 2022. I think I said 2021. We're in 2022. But we're not going to be able to do that because, well, we're still dealing with the Omicron variant. It seems like everybody has the COVID-19 at this point. I think the question we have to ask each other is who hasn't had it? Well, as far as I know, my crew hasn't had it yet. I don't know. I had a headache for about 4 days. My kids had a fever for a couple of days, but that was about it. And thankfully, it seems as though the Omicron variant is not as bad in terms of the side effects and the impact on the body. That said, the cases are skyrocketing, hundreds of thousands of cases per day, breaking all previous records. You would think we were not in year 3, going into year 3 of this pandemic. And that's why we are at a stage where we have to determine whether or not there needs to be another shutdown. We don't want to take for granted the fact that this Omicron variant is not as bad, when in reality, we don't know exactly how it's going to merge forces with the Delta variant. We're doing things just a little bit differently this morning. Georgia Ford is going to be joining us around the half-hour mark. Dr. Carl Mack is going to be joining us as we discuss today in Black history. We are commemorating John Lewis today in Black history. All of that coming up on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. But before we get to those things, the reality of it is that it feels as if we have not learned a single thing in this pandemic. That's where the rubber meets the road. And to be honest with you, I'd be less than genuine if I didn't call this administration out at the same level that I called the previous administration out, because now we have surpassed the number of deaths. I can't even say that right this morning. The number of deaths that occurred in the Trump administration. Now, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. We are where we are because of the trajectory that Donald Trump's incompetence set us on. We are here because of the Trump administration, because of Trumpism, because of the ignorance, because of the ignoring science. We're here because they thought like a miracle it was just going to go away. That's why we are here. But we're not faring a whole lot better. And in the midst of that, the CDC has now cut their recommendation down from 10 days for quarantine down to 5 days. Truth of the matter is, the quarantine period always needed to be about 15 days. 10 was the compromise. And now they're saying 5. Let's take a listen to Dr. Anthony Fauci. I believe we have the clip of Dr. Fauci defending the decision to cut this quarantine down from 10 days to 5. And listen, here's the thing. None of the media outlets are actually telling you why they did that. Delta Airlines, Atlanta-based Delta Airlines, the CDC, Atlanta-based, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that they're that close in proximity. But what matters is the fact that Delta Airlines has enough pull with the CDC to take their recommendation and change it from 10 days to 5 days because Delta wants to get back flying the friendly skies, or whatever the hell their motto is. Is anybody telling you that? No. You know why? Because we live not only in the most ridiculous political system in the history of the world, we live in the most ridiculous media system in the history of the world. I was able to accomplish so many of the things that I accomplished in media, in journalism, because people just were not looking. And then if they looked, they were not reporting. But here we are. Delta Airlines is the reason the rest of this country now is down to 5 days of quarantining. You don't even really know the impact of COVID-19 until the 5th day. Did you realize that? Now, if you're doing the math and you're saying, oh, I got exposed, I got tested, so I'm on day 10 of COVID, there are still instances of COVID where you did not get the full impact until day 10. So without question, everybody knows at face value that this reduction from 10 days down to 5 is absurd. OK, it is absolutely absurd. And we're seeing the impacts of it. People are resigning. People are quitting their jobs. The Great Resignation is a real thing. The American worker is giving America the middle finger because they're not willing to die for capitalism. They're not willing to die for incompetent leadership. I don't care what color the leader is, whether they're blue or red. People are not willing to sit there and die for incompetent leadership.
We have that Fauci clip.
Let's run the Fauci clip. Let's take a look at it.
The purpose of it is that given the wave, the extraordinary, unprecedented wave of infections that we are experiencing now and will certainly experience more of in the next few weeks, that there is the danger that there will be so many people who are being isolated, who are asymptomatic for the full 10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made, although it's not completely risk-free, of saying, let's get that cut in half so that we could have 50%, namely half of the 10 days, and 50% of that time, people can actually be out with a mask in society.
You know, the only saving grace right now for even Dr. Fauci, I'm a fan of thank you for all your work here until this point, Dr. Fauci. Really, thank you. You had to put up with a lot of stupidity. This is not your fault. What you were saying is that you are having to look at the ravages of America and this pandemic and say, well, if we want society to keep growing, we have to get sick people out of their beds and send them back to work, even though it's going to spread. So we are now at the point of society where if you're sick, get up and go to work, and you might infect someone else, but still get up and do your job. Just give me a thumbs up if you have my audio. I lost the audio on my side, but as long as you guys have the audio on your side, I'm good to go. All right. I want to shift gears and juxtapose another crisis that we have in this country, and that is the crisis of Trumpism and the slow coup that is happening in real time vis-a-vis January 6th. There's a train of thought that suggests that we should move away from January 6th as we get ready to come around to the year anniversary of the insurrectionist terrorist attack, the attempted overthrow of our government. That's what happened on January 6th. Make no bones about it. There's no question. But the fact of the matter is it's not over. And the reason I feel like it is extremely necessary and vital for us to continue to pound the pavement and to get to the bottom of what happened on January 6th is because January 6th never ended. In fact, January 6th was a dry run. Everybody knows the first time out the gate is not a success. It's always the second time. It's just almost like a universal principle, if you would. Take, for example, MySpace. First out the gate, did all the work setting up the idea in the mind of society of an interconnected social media networks. Facebook comes around, nails it. Who was that before Google? Was it Yahoo? Pretty good. Did a good job. Yahoo's still here. Yeah. But Google came second, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me on the history, but I'm pretty sure Google came second and wiped it's the second part. The first one is a case study. The first attempted coup on January 6, 2021 was a test run. And now they have all of the moving pieces happening, not just in terms of the people who are hitting the streets, like the Proud Boys, right? Like the Boogaloo Boys, all of these fascistic organizations that you may or may not hear about on the evening news. You only really hear about it when they are burning something down, like the Capitol, when in reality, they are organizing every single day because they fervently believe in what happened on January 6th, needing to continue all the way to reinstate their leader, Donald Trump. Now, there's a wrinkle, there's a fly in the ointment, because they don't know if it's going to be Donald Trump for sure leading them this time, because Donald Trump has had the audacity to come out in favor of the vaccine. So now there's a little friction there between the Republicans, the Republican dumb and dumber faction. You have the dumb faction that is the Trump regular Republicans who want power and want money, and the dumber faction, the ones who want all those things Donald Trump wants, but also want you to die of COVID-19 because they think the mark of the beast is in the vaccine. I kid you not. This is what we're dealing with. So there is a divide in Trump world, and I think we should exploit it by all means. But that said, it may or may not be Donald Trump who sits on the throne of an America that has been seized by the fascists that are trying to seize power. I know I got in the weeds there. I'm sorry. I know a lot of inside politics. I messed around and became a Washington insider somewhere along the lines. I know where all the bodies are buried. No, I don't. No, I'm not that kind of Washington, D.C. insider. But all of the different games that have been played, all of the different strategies that they have been employing, they have been working, the fascists have been working on grabbing control of this country for over 50 years. And they're in position. And January 6th was just the test run. And so we must continue to pound the pavement about January 6th because, well, they're not done. And in fact, the traitors are still in the temples. The Judases are still in the temple. The Matt Gaetz, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Ku Klux Klan, if you would. They're still in Washington, D.C. And it's not just those village idiots. You go all the way to the top. Kevin McCarthy, who's vying to be the next Speaker of the House. He wants to get rid of Nancy Pelosi at all costs because he wants to be the next Speaker of the House. All of them are a part of what happened on January 6th. And I don't know if Joe Biden is responding the way I would if you were Caesar and you knew that Brutus was afoot. What do you do? January 6th is to America what Brutus was to Caesar. And they're not done yet. So we have that juxtaposed with the COVID-19 pandemic. And really, we don't know. I am grateful. The one thing I am most grateful for is the fact that, well, hey, the Omicron variant has not been as bad. That is the best news that we could get in a country that seems to have learned nothing. And so all of that to say, that's the reason I'm calling this the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, because I promise you, we cannot win the fight if we are so dragged down by the fight that we just get tired of fighting. I know that sounds redundant, but it's really, really true. Sometimes you're so locked into the fight that you are in that you are completely incapable of making it all the way through. You can't really see what's going on when you're in the middle of it, is what I'm trying to say. You don't really understand that we are in the middle of a once in a lifetime plague, if you would, because we're in the middle of it fighting and we're lost. We can't see the forest for the trees. You get that. It's the same thing with our energy level, right? We're out here fighting. Us particularly, the show. I mean, I'm being really specific. I know you're fighting, but we're fighting on the show. Georgia Ford is going to be coming up in a minute, and nobody is fighting out there more than this sister on the front line of Black lives and on the front line of journalistic integrity. And then you have Brother Carl Mack. He's coming in, and he's going to be talking about this day in Black history. Rebecca Azor, DJ Exclusive. We fight on this show every morning for something good, but we realize something: you cannot fight and not have some joy, because what good is a revolution if there's no dancing? Like we simply cannot fight all the way to victory. We have to have some joy on our way to victory. So whatever you're going through, right? Just keep in mind that sometimes you got to take a step back and breathe, catch your breath, and take an objective outside view of what's going on. But you can never do that if all you are doing is fighting tooth and nail. And that's one thing I do pretty good. Anybody who's watching on Facebook, we get in those comment sections and we give them hell. But I try to juxtapose that fight with some joy, because that's what real life is about. Joy and pain, right? Frankie Beverly, sunshine and rain. It's all one and the same, right? We're not going to be able to get to victory without some struggles, but we are not going to get to victory unless we have some joy. That's it. So I'm not even sure what time it is, and I don't even know who I have. If I have anybody, if I don't have anybody, then David, you're going to cut on your microphone and you're going to be my wingman until the rest of the crew gets here. The Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. David, what's going on, man?
I should have just stayed on mute and let you wonder what was going on. No. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. What's going on, man? Listen, David, thank you, man. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. Listen, I do want to say this. David is an organizer. He helped create structure out of chaos. So that said, David, what do we got going on? Who's here? Who's not here? What we got? Yeah,
unfortunately, Brother Mac is not going to make it today. He'll be with us tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Not a problem.
And Georgia should be with us soon. She should be with us in about another 10 minutes or so. So we can dive into the local Atlanta story on COVID if you want.
Yes. Set that one up for me.
Yeah. So it's not just Atlanta. It's not any specific locality really, because if you look at the U.S. in general, Omicron is just spreading like crazy. We were talking in our meeting last night, and everybody on the team knows somebody or multiple people that have COVID that are testing positive for it. So in Atlanta, I'm not sure if it's the whole entire city or if it's a portion of it, but there is a shortage of workers for the local government. And so garbage is having trouble getting maintained and picked up. Dwayne, if you roll A1.
More than half of the solid waste crews are sick, causing delays in picking up trash. Channel 2 Steve Galebach saw trucks out today, but not everything's getting picked up.
A critical service over the entire city. Collecting what we all throw away is a tough job, now even tougher with COVID mixing with the week after Christmas. City of Atlanta Public Works say they're now at only 46% staffing, more than half their employees out with positive COVID cases through their on-site testing or with symptoms waiting for results.
Wiping out over 50% of our workforce, I don't think that we could have done anything that we haven't done to prepare for this.
Public Works Commissioner Al Wiggins Jr. calls it a perfect storm, but they prepared and planning ahead lessened some of the blow, moving staff from other areas into solid waste to get more crews on the street, along with 4 temporary hiring agencies they've been in contact with for just this scenario. They could bring in up to 50 new workers by as soon as next week.
Here's the thing. So we're in this critical space where society, the most important people in society, the people who make this thing function, the essential workers, we're at the stage where the virus has hit so widespreadly, making up words, that essential workers don't have time to rest. Essential workers don't have time to quarantine. And then when the essential workers all start getting so sick that they can't come in, our sewage and our waste is going to reflect it. The trash is going to pile up, right? After a while, the bodies start piling up. To be so morbid this morning, we'll have fun when everybody else gets here. The sooner the team gets here, the more joy we could have. Until such time, we got to deal with the reality, right? It's only a short step between where we are now and what happened in was it Paris? No, Italy. Italy at the beginning of the pandemic had so many people dying that the morgues couldn't keep up and they had to put bodies outside, right? The coroner could not come and pick up bodies at a fast enough clip. We're not too far from that step, because if you talk to funeral home directors, which we will, I'm going to be talking to some funeral home directors, and they're going to be coming on to tell us exactly what's going on behind the scenes. Because I think if you understood what's happening at the funeral homes, you would not have gone out to party on when I know nobody in my audience. And I know everybody who's tuned in on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those places, and Act TV. I know none of you went out and partied over the weekend, spreading or catching COVID-19. But we're at that point in society where it has become so widespread that the core fundamental people who function can't even stay home because they can't be replaced. This, honestly, America is at a perfectly weakened spot for a fascist coup, David. If you think about it, I mean, it's not just the military that takes over a country. It's not just the failing of politicians that leaves a country vulnerable for a January 6th style coup. It's also a malfunctioning infrastructure. It's when your mail is not running on time, right? It's when your trash is not getting picked up on time. That's when the average Joe goes from Joe the plumber to, I don't know, GI fascist Joe. I don't have the jokes this morning. But the point is, David, this has weakened the fabric of our country, the infrastructure of our country, to the point where it's just easy for part 2 of January 6th to take place.
Yeah, Dwayne, can you roll back this footage to the very beginning, but leave it on pause so that you have his face in the very beginning, all the way at 0? There you go. That expression right there. Yeah. That's the face. That's when I was watching Fauci, the clip that we played earlier, and when I'm just seeing everything that's happening, that's the feeling. It's like we would have our first responders and we wouldn't have a shortage, or at least not as much, if we had done the right thing. We actually had better mediation policies, if we were actually following the best practices to manage this. If we were cutting off travel or requiring vaccination proof, even domestically, if we were, clamping down and not giving the freedom. I know we love freedom in this country, but if we weren't giving the freedom to run around spreading liberty all over the place. So,
y'all are so liberty here. I don't even care about the English language anymore. Y'all are so liberated here in this country that you're killing yourselves and you're destroying your empire because of liberty. I mean, David, honestly, this face does say it all. It says, oh my God, my trash is piling up in front of my yard and I have nobody to come pick it up and I can't get rid of all the evidence. I don't know. I'm not talking about Dave Huddleston. I'm talking about some other dad who's hiding something in the trash and you've been waiting for the trash people to come pick it up for a week. They're not coming because we can't have a functioning society, because we have morons running America. And you got Joe Biden, he's whatever. I got to call him out because more people are dead now, Joe. More people are dead now. And we cut it down from 10 days to 5. That's because you got to get up and work. That's because the reason we are here, there's a straight line from what I was tweeting about at the beginning of the pandemic to here, which is the crumbling of society, because we did not do what was necessary 2 years ago to stave off this disaster. And what was necessary was 2 years ago, we should have shut down for about 3 months. If we could have quarantined collectively for about a quarter, there would be at least 750,000 people still alive. That's my best estimate. David, what do you think?
I don't think the numbers right now are accurate anyway. I think that they're undercounted. We have states that aren't reporting accurately or aren't reporting in general. Florida definitely has played with their numbers. Dummy. And it's not limited to Florida. I believe it is Nebraska that hasn't reported beyond their state level, meaning their governor might know, but outside of the state, they're not actually publishing their dashboard. They haven't been doing so for at least 6 months, if not longer.
The dummies are afoot, man. The Neanderthals are in charge.
You don't have a true count.
The Neanderthals are in charge. Ron DeSantis, Brian Kemp, who's the governor of Kay Ivey in Alabama, Mississippi Tate. The Neanderthals are in charge. And they have no problem to be so pro-life. Praise Jesus. Pro-life. But throwing about 62,000 lives on the altar of COVID-19 in Florida that we can count. But you're right, David. It probably is way more than that, because lest we forget, Ron DeSantis intentionally made sure that the counting was inaccurate. And who was that young lady they fired? Right? They fired someone because she was trying to give accurate reporting in Florida. Ron DeSantis made sure she was out of there, because we couldn't have somebody actually reporting how many bodies are piling up because of that goofball, Ron dumbass. Excuse me. Sorry. I'll pay the fine. Try not to cuss. But when I think about how savagely sub-mediocre white supremacy is, we really are at the late stage white supremacy, right? We're at the stage where the goofballs are in charge. The Marjorie Taylor Greens, who got suspended on Twitter, by the way. I'm really, I know, David, I know you want me to clown her, but I'm a little nervous because, I'm only a few sneezes away from being suspended on Facebook myself. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I guess she was suspended for misinformation, COVID-19 misinformation.
Yeah, it turned out she shared we have a clip of that too. We can go to and like it or not, but because Georgia should be with us shortly. But okay. I believe she shared a chart with information that had already been, confirmed as false, had already been addressed. And so Twitter basically stayed true to the policy that they have and said, fifth strike, you're out.
Wait. Five strikes? Five strikes?
5 strikes.
Okay, so I have at least,
and she still has her official government account because she still has. So and most of the time, except for Gozar is the one person that I've seen go beyond past this. Most of the time, they don't use it. Usually, it's like an aide or a staffer that's just putting out BS on the government account.
Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out. How many lives I have left on Facebook, right? So if she has 5 lives, this is
on Twitter. Meta is a whole nother.
Maybe I have 2 more lives on Facebook, which means. But see, the funny thing is, on Facebook, I've gotten suspended and flagged for sarcasm. Right. The first time I got flagged and they threatened to take down my page was when I was. I don't want to call it trolling, but I was bringing information to. No, I was trolling. I was trolling. What's the old Aloha lady from Hawaii? What's her name? Help me out. The Congresswoman. She pretends like she's a progressive, but she's really Tulsi. A fascist. Tulsi. I was trolling Tulsi, and I said, "Aloha, white supremacy." They flagged me for that and threatened to take down my page for that. And then they stood by that judgment when I cussed them out. I guess maybe I shouldn't have cussed them out. Then the second time, I want you to watch this, right? This is meaningful. The second time I got flagged for suspension was when I mocked Elon Musk for having that wonderful picture with Giselle Maxwell, who now is sentenced to she's facing 60 years, or I know she was found guilty. I don't know if they've actually sentenced her yet. But I know it's somewhere around 60 years for child trafficking. Time Person of the Year, and so I put up an image of him and Giselle Maxwell. Parody, satire. They're going to take down my page. Strike 2. I have a feeling I don't have 2 more strikes. I'm going to say a black man only has 3 strikes and you're out in this country. But this village idiot of a congresswoman, right? This mush face looking Neanderthal gets 5 opportunities to spread misinformation as a congressperson. And then finally they took her down, but she still has her government account to tweet from, and she still has her Facebook account to send all that misinformation from. Do I have the summary right, David?
Sounds just about. I was trying to get in touch with Georgia.
No problem. We'll give her some time. She will be joining us momentarily with On the Clock. We are lifting up some. We're just doing the show differently. And we're doing it differently because, well, we have to have maximum capacity to cover these stories because of the absurdity, right? We have the absurdity of Marjorie Taylor Greene. We have the absurdity of January 6th. And the fact that America knows who these Judases are. It's kind of absurd that we're having now a year-long dance into this song and dance around January 6th, because I have no question that if these insurrectionists had been black, that these cases would have been closed already. That every participant in January 6th, if the participants of January 6th had been left-leaning, if they had been like democratic socialists or, God forbid, Antifa, the boogeyman, no matter what color you were, the federal government would have wiped us out already. Maybe they would have given us a trial. The government is extremely comfortable with fascists because they have them sitting on the Supreme Court. Good morning, Amy Coney Barrett. Theocratic fascists, but still a fascist nonetheless. We have them through the judiciary, appointed by Donald Trump because he was the useful idiot who just signed off on all of the judicial picks that came from the Heritage Foundation and Mitch McConnell's recommendation and the organization known as the Family. All right. They've been working on this for 50 years or more. They have a very consistent plan that they have never deviated away from, and all of the elements are in place. You have the village idiots who don't know how to read the legislation enough to honestly know what's going on, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then you have, all the way to the White House, right? Let's not get it twisted. Donald Trump was the crown jewel of white supremacy village idiots who sign anything because they have the reading comprehension skill of a sloth. That's intentional. It's fun to mock it. I'm really good at it, but it's intentional, right? So you have the dummies signing the legislation. You have ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Commission, who's writing the legislation on the state level. And you sure as hell better believe that they have a fingerprint in everything on the federal level. You have the fascists writing the legislations, the dummies signing it. You have the judiciary. I can't even say that 3 times fast. The judiciary being stocked by Donald Trump. And you have the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys in the streets. And let's not forget the FBI and the police agencies have been seized by white supremacy. No, correction, they were born out of white supremacy. Folks, it's a perfect recipe, if you ask me, the perfect recipe for a coup. And that's where we are, January 6th, and weakened infrastructure because of COVID-19. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be here with Georgia Fort. She's going to give us an update on the clock, more COVID-19, because it is literally everywhere, not just politically. It is literally everywhere. We want to give you everything that we can to make sure that you and your family are safe. A little bit more on January 6th, and we'll be covering all that. Georgia Fort on the clock coming up right after this. We'll be back.
Set the potato, sunlight that always stays, dinner by the waterway. It's that sweet life. Raise your cross. Made some dude crack a smile. He asked if I could stay a while. I'm living that high life. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro. Back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy girl on my Vespa. She said I already told ya, yeah. I never dated a black guy. I said you're brown yourself. Let me offer help. Come on inside. Where everybody knows your name, everybody knows your name. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feel it when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Separate again. Sunlight that always stays in and by the waterway. It's that sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. Living in Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm. Yeah. Shut up, I got the bed,
Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, 39 minutes after the hour. That is Revel Day. I think it is a perfect song, Stockholm. Revel Day is the artist. Love that, brother. And I often think about the fact that America in general, we are suffering from a Stockholm Syndrome, kind of serving the system that is oppressing us. But that's a different conversation for another day. The best part of the conversation is when I can bring in other voices for the conversation, especially when they are as brilliant as Georgia Ford, independent journalists. And so now we're on the clock with Georgia Ford.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Last year around this time, none of us had any idea that in 3 days, there would be one of the largest attacks in our country against our own capital by Americans themselves. And so as we approach the anniversary of January 6th, it's important to realize that there are going to be some conversations from the people who participated in January 6th that will continue their movement, continue their fight for what they feel like is freedom. I want you guys to take a listen to a recap of current investigations, what Trump is planning, and what we can expect for the one-year anniversary of January 6th.
Well, breaking news tonight, the House January 6th committee standing down on some of its demands for some of the former President Trump's White House documents. This after pushback, interestingly, from the Biden administration, convincing the committee to scale back that request. It is the first time the Biden administration appears to have told the committee its requests on some fronts may have gone too far. Jessica Schneider is out front and joins us now. Explain why. What are these documents?
Well, these are documents from the National Security Council. So our teams actually reviewed several letters from the White House lawyers. They're telling the committee that these particular records don't touch on anything to do with January 6th. So in response, the committee has withdrawn their request for now. And like you said, it's significant because it does appear to be the first time the Biden White House has pushed back on handing over these Trump White House documents to the committee. We actually got a response from the committee late tonight saying that they may actually renew this request. So it's not over just yet. And remember, of course, there's still that fight that's now before the Supreme Court about whether 700 other documents from the Trump White House will actually go to the House committee. But those documents, of course, President Biden does approve of handing over.
We know now, we are learning much more about what former President Trump was doing while the violent assault was underway. The committee has firsthand testimony now that he was sitting in the dining room next to the Oval Office watching the attack on television. As the assault on the Capitol occurred, that the briefing room at the White House is just a mere few steps from the Oval Office. The president could have at any moment walked those very few steps into the briefing room, gone on live television, and told his supporters who were assaulting the Capitol to stop. He could have told them to stand down. He could have told them to go home. And he failed to do so. It's hard to imagine a more significant, a more serious dereliction of duty than that. We know as he was sitting there in the dining room next to the Oval Office, members of his staff were pleading with him to go on television, to tell people to stop. We know Leader McCarthy was pleading with him to do that. We know members of his family. We know his daughter. We have firsthand testimony that his daughter Ivanka went in at least twice to ask him to please stop this violence. Any man who would not do so, any man who would provoke a violent assault on the Capitol to stop the counting of electoral votes, any man who would watch television as police officers were being beaten, as his supporters were invading the Capitol of the United States, is clearly unfit for future office.
Next week marks the one-year anniversary of that day, ended with the deaths of 5 people. Congressional Democrats are commemorating the anniversary with a series of events reflecting on what happened that day, while Donald Trump says he will hold a news conference live from Florida.
And, as I reflect on January 6th, it's hard to really determine what the biggest failure was. Was the biggest failure for America that we had a president who would be complicit, who likely incited this violence against our own Capitol? Or is it the failure in the people that behaved this way, or the law enforcement who stood by and didn't treat this group of people with the same militarized approach that they do when Black people are in the streets advocating for Black lives?
Yeah. Good morning, Georgia. And I think it's all of the above. It's a failing across the board. It's a system-wide failure, right? It's what you see before the collapse of an empire. It's what's happening at the collapse of the Roman Empire. And you're right. I mean, at each level, look at that on the collective level, the idea of America failed, right? On a governance level, every part of the governance system failed, and particularly because of Donald Trump. Now, I have to put a pin here, because the reason it failed because of Donald Trump was because of how much power we give the office of the presidency. So the next president has the potential of doing the same thing because we haven't rectified that. And then, yes, ultimately, it's a failure at the individual level because you have these white men who thought that they were aggrieved, like they actually have something wrong in this country when most of them have money and jobs and wealth. They're fine as compared to everyone else.
Well, and I also wondered, the country pushed to try and have Trump impeached after that. But even we failed to do that. That's right.
Even that. And that's another part of the system failure, right? We try to impeach the president, which becomes necessary. That's a constitutional function. It is a core function to be able to impeach a president when they commit high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, he obstructed justice in the Russia investigation, particularly when he sat down with FBI Director James Comey. I don't know if people remember that, but we tried to impeach him then, and it failed. right? And then it failed, obviously, at that time because the Republicans had control. We don't have the ability to impeach him now because of the same system. But it's a little different because now, well, we have people like Joe Manchin, and we, of course, would not get a guilty conviction, very likely. So the point is that, yes, it is a systems failure when we cannot use the structure of the Constitution. The core functionality of our democracy cannot be used because of the individuals involved.
And what concerns me is Trump is planning a news conference on January 6th, the 1-year anniversary. Is he going to, for the first time, denounce what we saw, or is he going to incite a part 2?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I think he's been so chastened. He got his butt whipped recently when he came out in favor of the vaccine that he helped create Operation Warp Speed. But his supporters don't want the vaccine so much that they ended up booing Donald Trump. I bring that up in context because I don't think he can take an L twice. He doesn't strike me as a person who can get booed back to back. So I have a feeling that he's going to show up and rile up his base. And the fact that it is on January 6th doesn't bode well for this country.
Or is he going to use this as an opportunity to formally announce his run for presidency in 2024?
Yeah. Oh, he's an opportunist. So he would throw that in there for sure. And because if he did so and he did this early, then he's able to fundraise an obscene amount of money. And I know he needs that because he's not as rich as he likes to pretend to be.
This is true. Well, it will be interesting to, see it play out. I don't know if you've been following the federal charges. I know that at one point there were about 550 people who had some type of charge brought forward. The FBI went through a lot of surveillance and cell phone footage, trying to track down all of these people after they went back to their home states. And about 550 charges were brought forth. I haven't heard much about whether or not these people are actually being convicted. I don't know. Have you been following that at all?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting convicted, but definitely it just doesn't feel like the sentences match or the charge. Right. It's not commensurate, if you ask me. They're getting like 5 years. That's a slap on the wrist. If you're from the Black community, we get 5 years for sneezing the wrong way. But these guys got to overthrow the government, or at least did the dry run. And they're getting like 5 years. So nothing. They are getting convicted, which is a step in the right direction. But, no serious punishments.
It just, to have that happen. 6 months after the murder of George Floyd, it felt like a turning point in our country because there was so much momentum for this nation to really reckon with the past, to reckon with the racism that has plagued this nation. And when that happened, when January 6th happened, it just felt like it was a huge step backward for our country. And it further proved the allegations that systematically there are differences in the way that white people are treated and the way that Black people are treated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you flank that with Kyle Rittenhouse. You flank that with just barely getting justice in the Potter trial and in the McMaster's trial. It's really a sobering reality to wake up. But I think I have to pause and ask, what do we expect, Georgia, as Black people in this country? I mean, it's not as though this country was particularly built for us. It was built by us. And sometimes I think we wake up in the middle of the narrative of American history and really think, oh, we're just a good, God-fearing American. We may feel that way, but we have to understand this system doesn't feel that way.
Correct. Yeah. Well, it's a new year. And I think that this younger generation has shown that they're not giving up until change is brought forth. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful about this year and that the progress we're hoping we will make, we'll start to see some of the fruits of our labor this year.
Yeah.
But I know over the last few days,
welcome
people
back,
have
by the
been
way.
warning. What was that?
I was saying, welcome back, by the way. I know
thank you.
The people have been missing you, and I know we've been gone from on the clock and holidays, but the people were demanding. They were like, "Where is Georgia Ford? Ben, you didn't lose Georgia Ford, did you?" Like, no, she's on holiday. So good to have you back.
Holiday and the trial. The trial was very consuming, both from a time standpoint. I was in court often 8 to 10 hours a day, but then also emotionally and spiritually, it's just a lot to process and take in every day. So I appreciate the grace and the flexibility that is afforded here on the Benjamin Dixon Show, because, you know, in mainstream media, you would have to go sit in court 8 hours and then turn a package and do 15 hits. So, you know,
that's their bad. That's their bad. They don't know. They don't know. They clearly don't know genius when they see it. So, and then when I get genius in my midst, I'm like, no, we're flexible. Take your time. You take the morning off. Do what you got to do.
No, I appreciate it. And you're brilliant yourself, my brother.
Oh, well.
I was gonna talk about Betty White.
Oh, yeah. She finally, she reminds me of my pastor down in, he's gone now. My former pastor down in Deerfield Beach, Florida, Lambert. He was so old, but he said death was going to have to catch him. Everybody was like, "Are you tired yet?" He said death was going to have to catch. It finally caught Betty White, because I mean, she seemed to be immortal for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a clip that the Golden Girls, like have you seen the meme? Have you seen the meme of the Golden Girls being reunited in heaven? I mean, it was cute. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. David, do me a favor. Let's run that clip. The clip of, it's not the real Golden Girls, but it is it is a, I think you'll like this one, Georgia. It's old, but I think it is a good way to start the conversation about somebody as dynamic as Betty White, the gospel singer. You have that one, right? We got the
X1, Dwayne, X1.
X1. Let's run X1. Betty White, thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
So we started from the bottom, now we're here, girl. Oh, yeah. This is my part right here. Ooh, if I did the biggest gift, the biggest. Thank you for being my friend. Oh, yeah. Hallelujah.
I'm sorry, Georgia. I didn't mean to throw that on you.
Wait, when that wig came off, though?
That's when you know you're singing. That's how you know you're singing in church. The best singers, when they sing and they throw their head back. Every now and then, Georgia, that wig would come off. What are some of your favorite memories of Betty White? Because she transcended so many generations. I mean, she's 99 years old.
You know, I think my favorite memory of Betty White, it really came through my sister. My sister was obsessed, or it still is obsessed with Golden Girls. And so just those moments of sitting with my sister and, watching this show, probably the original show that celebrated sisterhood in such a non-traditional way. And the lessons that you would learn from this show about conflict and resolution and love. And so many times I think that we see shows about women that glorify their sexuality. I think for me as a young woman, this was a way to cherish the aging process because so much about women is centered on our beauty and our looks. And that usually, you know, is at its peak when we're young. Yeah. And so if we as women put all of our stock, all of our value in our beauty and the vanity of that, what happens when we lose that? What happens when we age? And so I think the thing that I appreciated the most about the Golden Girls was this was a show about women who were beyond those years, and the friendship that they had. And so, yeah, I think that there's just so many layers, you know, for me there, and what it meant for me to watch that show with my sister growing up.
You know, you just actually gave me a really brilliant idea. I have to bring you in on it after the show, because I love the fact that moving from Boston back to the South allowed my daughter in particular to spend a lot of time with her grandmother. That didn't happen when we were 13 hours away. It's a lot easier when we're an hour away. And she just loves to go in there, and she'll sit there and watch Judge Judy with her. You know, she'll watch those old shows. But I had never really thought about it from that perspective. It gives a young woman insight into what it's like to be an older Black woman. I think that's an important part. And I guess it's that Madea, that Momo, that grandma Nana role, the queen mother role that every little girl needs to be able to look up to.
Absolutely. Well, and when you have, I mean, there's so much messaging that is sent to our young women, from the dolls they play with to the shows that they watch, that everything is about appearance. And so I think that it's important to also invest in our young women so that they understand that it's also about the relationships you have with other people, how you treat other people, your wisdom, your level of responsibility, your humor, your wit. It's not just about the way, you know, that you look. Ain't nobody trying to tell you to walk around looking like a slob, but you know, we shouldn't invest so much, you know, stock into the way that we look. And, you know, I guess the same thing could be said about men, but it just doesn't seem like there's so much pressure there for young men.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, the pressure's different, right? The pressure is, I mean, look at Boosie. We talked about not Boosie. It was somebody who had their little boy at his little boy's birthday party dancing with an adult dancer. So the pressure to be, you know, something other than a kid is definitely present there for young Black boys as well. There's a clip though before we go, because that's a conversation that we need to expand on. And I know DJ Exclusive and Rebecca Zora will be joining us momentarily. But before we go to that conversation, I want us to play this clip. And David, I want you to properly set it up, because if I'm not mistaken, this is a show that we're looking at. This is the Betty White show from like the 50s. And it was some controversy at the time because she had a Black tap dancer on her show, but the people didn't want to see it. Do I have that right, David?
Yeah, I believe this. I don't know how long Arthur Duncan was on the show for, but she had the Betty White show, and in 1954, she was criticized for having him on. Arthur Duncan was a tap dancer and actually a singer as well, but much better known for his tap dancing. And she basically told whoever was criticizing her, I don't know if it was network heads or who, I'm sorry, live with it. She's actually been quoted as saying that. And the show was canceled soon after at that point as a reflection of the environment back then. But this clip is from their interaction.
I would love to. Let's run this clip. Let's take a look at Betty White looking like a snack back in the day, doing her thing with on behalf of Black folks. Let's see it.
But no, wouldn't you think so? Thank you we love all the jokes and the goodies and the serious poems and everything, but we especially like the riddles too, because it's always a chance for us to be real smart and the fellas to be real stupid, because I've got the paper in my hand with the answer on it. Arthur, did you have a nice weekend?
Sure did. The usual weekend.
What's the usual weekend?
Well, a benefit.
Working?
I did something a little different. I rehearsed with a choral group that's going to do Christmas carols this Christmas.
Oh, wonderful. You're going around from house to house, or?
I think their plan is to go to hospitals and orphanages and things of that nature.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to do for Christmas season, Arthur. Arthur's all set for his number today. This is a fine number for him to do when he was rehearsing Christmas carols all day yesterday. Arthur Duncan and Sing You Sinners.
Sinners, drop everything and let the harmony ring up to heaven. Sing you sinners. Sing, sing, sing. Sing, sing, sing.
So that was controversial back then. Georgia and Betty White on the front line of it lost her show because of it. That's wild.
Mm. Well, allyship doesn't come without a cost, but
that's right.
She paved the way for so many more allies to come behind her. And I think that she made this sacrifice, even losing her own show, because she believed, she was on the forefront of believing in diversity and inclusion. And I think she carried that throughout her entire career, wanting to break the mold of what Hollywood said entertainment had to be. She saw it different, and she carried that sentiment all the way through to the Golden Girls. That's right.
That's right. I think I heard in the background, so you heard me say her in the background, DJ Exclusive. And I want to get him in on the conversation for Betty White as well as Rebecca Azor. So let's take a quick break. Georgia, can you hang out for a few more minutes across the half-hour break? Mm-hmm. All right. So then, but you got to do the thing that I love. You know, I hate to be particular about it. Can you take us to the break and just add one thing though? We're going to add the morning show now. So do your magic, but add morning in there.
Okay, I got you. Keep it here for that and more on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
There it is.
I'm about to say, I don't know how being heard me. Was I breathing hard or something? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My help if I unmute the music. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2022. And hopefully it's not 2022. Welcome again, everybody. Welcome. Your coffee, your tea, whatever you need to get your morning started, man. I'm having a rough one, but I'm here. I made it. Good morning, everybody. We're going to get some sounds rocking, and then, like it or not, it's starting up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show. Happy New Year, Georgia. Happy New Year, Brother Ben. Happy New Year to the hardest working men back there in the background, David and Dwayne. Happy New Year, brothers. So free, can't no man kill him. Came from the bottom, was a broke man girl. Still move like T-Man with no family without pardon me, I get hectic. Lily, happy New Year to you. Brittany Woods, Nicole Howe, happy New Year. Juanita, Greg, happy New Year. Brenda Johnson, Six Dragon Daddy, happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, everybody. Shoot the Dragon, good morning. Happy New Year. Laura Estrada. We missed you at the party, Laura. We ain't gonna get on you this morning. Over. Happy New Year to you. Good morning. Brother Lateef, Mark S, Ill Hustler, what's going on? Tyler, what's up, Tyler? Jonathan came through looking like Jesus, of course. Good morning, Jonathan. What's up, bro? Penelope, good morning. Very good morning to you. Susan Bradley, good morning. Shout out to Mama and Daddy. I know they somewhere lurking in the chat room. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Love you all. Good morning, Q.
All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next. We're sending warm thoughts to Tiger this morning. Tiger, good morning. Tiger says, hey, Bubba, hope you're having a better day than me. I'm digging my mother's car out of a snow ditch because she would listen to me when I said stay home. Sending warm thoughts. These warm thoughts are for Tiger. Tiger, this song is for you as well, too, Tiger. Stay warm out there, brother, please. Shout out, brother Kev Z. Courtney the SLP, good morning. Esther Brochin. Afraid not, what's going on? The demon, y'all, my mama. Alicia, good morning. Shelby Hall, good morning to you. I told y'all she was lurking. Good morning, mama. I got an appetite. Locks them fire. Good morning. And real quick, while we got a little time, we are going to go ahead and get our new Twitch subscribers read off and our new Patreon members here. Indian Brown, Grand Rising to you as well. Good morning. Push up and butter me. Let's see here. We're going to take that. Here we go. Boom. All right, y'all. Here we go. Our new Twitch subscribers, we have Selena K and Dre T. So I'm saying new Twitch subscribers. New Patreon members, I'm sorry. Selena K and Dre T. New Twitch subscribers, we have Rachel Letney, who come in and resubscribe. Good morning, Bubba. Glad you back. Resubscribe for 6 months. Brown Coat Blue, resubscribe with Prime. The Chicken Fried Dragon, gifted us subscription to Shout out Chicken Fried Dragon, man, and Tar Harka. Kenya Nations resubscribed with Prime, and they've been subscribed for 6 months. Sammy Lynn the Kind Dragon gifted a subscription to Progressive B, and Sammy Lynn the Kind Dragon also resubscribed as well. And then when there are 15 resubscribed and commented Happy Mid-Holiday Week, and they've been subscribed for 5 months. If you not have done so yet, you can now. Patreon.com/LikeItOrNot, Patreon.com/The BPD Show. Go increase your pledge. Ask a member to join. Invite somebody. Make some new friends. Y'all tell everybody, come on. Y'all like it. It's 2022. Let's get it going, man. Good morning, everybody. Y'all stay tuned. Like It or Not is starting up next here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Cream and that sweet on me. We can cook up, we can stir up, then we hook up just you and me with that cream. Put that sweet on me, baby. Say that 'cause we can cook up, we can stir up, then we hook up just you and me. All right, y'all, welcome back to the stream. My brother from another mother and my sister from another, Mr. Benjamin Dixon and Georgia Ford. Hey, Rebecca running late as usual. Y'all know how Rebecca do.
Rebecca's. Listen.
Ain't nothing changed. Okay. It's 2022, y'all. It's the same old thing.
listen. But James, I gotta let the people know, because I got a reputation out here. I got to uphold. Rebecca is here. She's coming. She'll be here momentarily. Georgia is hanging out over the half an hour. We're kind of blowing no borders in terms of the shows. No borders. We're all here as a family. DJ exclusive. Man, it's good to be back on the screen with you, brother. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to y'all, man. It's great to see y'all. I'm doing good.
Good, man. Thank you. And honestly, I feel so bad. 2 patron parties back to back. The first one I didn't make it, so please forgive me. I apologize to you and the patrons. But I came to the last one, the watch night. My churchy behind. I came to the New Year's Eve party, and I only made it to like 11 o'clock, and I was knocked out on the couch. So thank you for setting it up. What time did y'all leave the patron New Year's party?
3 a.m. We bought the West Coast in as well too.
That's what time James dropped out.
We left.
James, did you hear what time they went until? Did you hear what time they went until?
Yes, I heard 8:30 a.m.
8:30 in the morning.
Whoa. Wait. Hold on.
I don't understand. There is a community here where we leave the Zoom room open and they go at it. They have fun. They have conversations. They talk. It's a real family. How did the camera die? It's been on screen for 3 seconds and the camera already gone.
George's camera died
off in 2022.
Yeah, listen. George's camera went out.
Some things don't change.
Okay.
James' camera, and I'm trapped in the closet. So,
oh Lord,
stuck in the closet.
It's too early for that.
George, y'all go ahead. See, the thing is, the more. I've learned the magic of hosting a show is the more voices that are on the screen, the less I talk. And the less I talk, the better the show is. I just want to say, before the end of 2022, we're going to have us some actual studios. I'm speaking that into existence. Georgia, I love having you in this conversation like this, because when we do On the Clock, it's usually like we're covering the news, and we got to do that. Mm-hmm. We got to cover it with journalistic integrity, but sometimes we just got to talk.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes, especially when you're focused on news, people, think you're uptight and don't have a personality. And that's not the case at all, but I wouldn't be kicking until 8:30 in the morning, though. I just the way my kids are set up. I like to have fun, but
listen, I'm officially a grandpa, and I got to ask more, James. As soon as your camera is ready, I want to know more about this committee that meets after you're off the air, because you're like, you're our last team member in the Zoom party. So we take no responsibility for what happens on the Zoom after our team members are gone, James.
Absolutely. After that, it's all in their hands. So I have nothing to do with that.
So what goes on at the patron party after hours, the after party is, we're going to have disclaimers that we have no responsibility for the broken chairs, all the partying that they be doing. So shout out to the community. It really is a dope community, and it's good to be back on the screen. James, Betty White. I didn't see that one coming. 2021 would not get his old funky, janky ass out of here without taking somebody as precious as Betty. Henry Kissinger is still alive, but Betty White is gone. What are your thoughts on the system?
Man, and on the last day of 2021, that was one of those things. It's like, oh my Lord Jesus. And the only thing I can do is finally when I'm calling everybody Lord, and got Betty White finally. Lord Jesus, help us all. But I'm just she lived a long time, though. She lived that life, and just so glad that she was around to make it this far, But all the Golden Girls are back together now. So every gay person in America, because Golden Girls is every gay man's show. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you.
Wait a minute, it's my show. Hold on. It's my show. Anyway, go ahead, Jay.
So, Georgia, how you doing this morning? Let me stop.
I'm just missing my coffee, but other than that, I'm fine.
Look, right.
I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on with Ben.
While we're talking about Betty White, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention Desmond Tutu also, because we didn't recognize that before the break.
Yeah. You know what I loved about him, if we're going to dovetail the conversation, he said that if he gets to heaven and heaven is homophobic, then he doesn't want to be there. That's all I got to say. That's the caliber of, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Kind of reminds me of what I said. I get to heaven, and it's a bunch of racist, white, evangelical conservatives. And y'all gonna just send me on to hell. Roast me next to some, send me on down there with Black Jesus or something. So shout out to Desmond Tutu. That's not exactly the kind of in memoriam you would expect for someone as distinguished as that man. But I think it's a good way of remembering the fact that, when you're really talking about liberation, at the core of it, liberation, it means you love everybody. And you don't care about any of those different things. So that's who what Desmond Tutu was. Yeah. So
now on the flip side, you got racists doing nonsense.
Oh yeah. Well, Jesus, it wouldn't be a day ending in Y. It wasn't a racist. Which races are we talking about today, David? You're our resident white person. Which one of your friends is acting up?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why
we got to put him as one of his friends? Dang, David, don't claim that.
I claim nothing about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Marjorie Taylor Greene does share my my shade, unfortunately. And
we got to get you to the South and then some sun, man. Got to get you to the beach, David.
That's still questionable. That's still questionable.
Okay. What did Marjorie Taylor Greene do? What did she do today?
She actually didn't get suspended for being racist, although she should have been when she tweeted out the Kwanzaa stuff. But she got suspended for COVID misinformation. Finally, 5 strikes. 5 strikes.
5 strikes. 5 strikes of COVID misinformation. We have a video of it, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a clip breaking it down.
Okay, let's get the breakdown of why Marjorie Taylor Greene's Neanderthal behind is finally suspended from Twitter.
D1.
Twitter has permanently suspended the personal account of Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. The social media service removed Greene's account on Sunday after she tweeted a misleading chart with unverified data Saturday. The tweet falsely suggested COVID vaccines were causing large numbers of deaths. The post represents Greene's 5th violation of Twitter's coronavirus misinformation policy, meaning her account will not be restored. However, her official congressional account remains active. Greene responded to the removal of her personal account on Getter. That's a social media platform targeted at American conservatives. She attacked Twitter as a, quote, enemy to America that can't handle the truth.
5 strikes, Georgia. Where else in the a congressperson? 5 strikes before they finally got her. Her work. Her. What point is it at this point? Because we're going into 3 years of the pandemic. The damage is done. The misinformation has been done, and they gave them 5 strikes before they say, okay, now finally we're going to take her page down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's too much grace. They could have cut that down to 3. They could have, held her to a higher standard because she is a congressperson.
That's right.
But instead, they have allowed her to spew her misinformation, which has resulted in what? How many people not taking the vaccine? That has resulted in how many people ending up hospitalized, And so I just think it's unfortunate that we have elected officials who have decided to, take this pandemic as though it's just a joke. It's sad, it's irresponsible, and it's about time. And I truly hope, because I think Twitter was also the first the first social media platform that decided to kick Trump off too.
Donald Trump. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I feel like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of them need to, or should I say Meta, I'm sorry, should start taking notes, because Twitter is really taking the lead here in regulating misinformation. But I think they need to cut that 5 strikes down to 3. And other social media sites need to follow suit.
It's wild, James and David. You could testify to this. We've gotten taken down on YouTube. We've had our YouTube channel suspended for a week because of quote unquote COVID misinformation. But what is actually happening, Georgia and James, we're reporting on the misinformation. right?
Right.
We did a video of Donald Trump and we were debunking it in one case. I forgot the other case, but they take us down for that. It's like on a certain side of the algorithm, they get really dumb and dense, and like they can't possibly tell what commentary is versus, or what a criticism is versus misinformation. And they get really intentionally obtuse. The Facebook, the, Meta, Instagram, when it comes to progressives and black people particularly, they really shut our stuff down, but give these racists, James, they give them so much space, like 5 strikes. And forgive me, I am doing one and the same. I'm talking about her racism as well as this COVID misinformation, because the same folks you got out here spreading COVID misinformation got their Klansmen hoods sitting in the closet at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. It's very true. I'm just mad that it took that long. That account probably should have been banned a long time ago. And I have another question for y'all, because y'all have been more in this politics space for a while, but since Trump's punk behind got in office back then, I don't remember seeing a lot of stuff like this. It's like Trump made it cool for them to wear those hoods in public, per se, because back then, I wasn't seeing a lot like this. Reagan was in office, Clinton. I've been through a lot of presidents, and I can honestly say I've never seen Republicans act up like they've been acting up since Trump has been in office.
What do you think, George?
I mean, I think that Trump gave, quote unquote, permission, social permission for these politicians to be their true selves. I mean, let's be clear. This type of racism still existed. We had just evolved as a nation to the point where politically, professionally, publicly, it wasn't appropriate anymore. We were shunning that kind of behavior and that thought. And the only time that you could share those thoughts would be in the privacy of your own home. But yeah, Trump, he I don't want to say made it cool, but like that's what his whole slogan was about: make America great again, quote unquote great, because when has America ever been great for Black people, or people of color broadly? So yeah, I mean, it's not that it didn't exist. It's just that people were doing it within the privacy of their own home before Trump.
Yeah, that's right. And Trump gave them cover fire. Right. Because you can't go out. Right. Like you said, Georgia, there was this period where your hood was at home, but you couldn't wear your hood on national television. Trump made that possible because he gave them cover fire. Once they realized you could say, oh, I could go all the way to the White House being a total, complete racist, being as big of a bigot as I possibly can be, being as big of a misogynist as I can possibly be. Once people saw that, people of a particular hue, they followed in suit and followed in kind. And it inspired them, but it also gave them cover. So now you have all the village idiots running into the Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene being amongst them, and Twitter finally getting her slothful self out the paint. But she still has her. Go ahead.
I think it's better this way, though. Not that it's good, but I would rather know how you feel about me and my people than to be rolling up to, Congress and smiling in our faces. Meanwhile, every time there is a vote that is going to save our lives or a vote about our ability to vote, you're blocking it or voting, So I would rather know who's who, and I would rather people show their true selves so that the nation can see. And it's important that social sites like Twitter, they have some regulations. Otherwise, we're going to have another January 6th because they're giving them platforms.
Yeah. And what's wild about it is, James, the algorithm is giving them the alley-oop, giving fascism, giving these white supremacists. Because it's like, if I go on YouTube and I start talking bad about Black women, my channel would have blown the hell up a long time ago. that the algorithm prioritizes stuff like that. It prioritizes that right-wing kind of funnel all the way from somebody like Donald Trump, Ben Shapiro, all the way down to full-blown Nazis, right? YouTube, Instagram, all of these platforms have been proven to take folks from some regular old schmegular old bigotry, which they got their hoods at home, right? And it takes them all the way down a funnel to where now they think they got to march up the steps on January 6th because these white folks really think that somehow they have been oppressed in this country. James, what are your thoughts? They got it bad, James.
That statement in itself was funny because you said white people think they have been oppressed.
You got to feel like you're oppressed to go marching up those steps. Capitalize.
Man, something I wish the white supremacists would come to me and talk about, man, do you know how oppressed I am?
I could only get the Ford F-150. I couldn't get the Dodge Ram 3000.
I couldn't get the King package on my Ram. That's how oppressed I am.
I had to pay property taxes. Bitch, we don't even have property. You talking about, I'm mad because I got to pay property taxes.
And Ben, you made me forget my statement, what I was going to say when you said that, Ben. You threw me off.
I don't even know what we're talking. What are we talking about? No. We're talking about the funnel, the YouTube and Meta. It takes regular old bigots and turns them into January 6ers.
Yeah, and I just don't understand it because, there's so much shadow banning going on when it comes to this algorithm. We try our best, and we always bump it. We hit that algorithm hard, especially on your channel, Ben, but it still seems like it gets buried and pushed further under. And I've seen this happen with several black people's accounts as well, too. Mm-hmm. So it's ridiculous. But, in 2022, this algorithm will be broken.
Hey, because what they messed up around. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
No, I think it's part of the reason also, right? We have to start investing in Black-owned apps, Black-owned social sites, because they still have the control, even though, we're independent from some huge network. So we don't have editors or news director that's filtering what we say. We're still at the mercy of these social sites who, in large, they can't filter what we say, but they can filter who it reaches. And so there's still a level of control that these white-led corporations have over Black voices. And you're seeing so many different, quote-unquote, innovative programs that these different social sites are trying to come up with to encourage Black creators to continue creating on their platforms. I mean, these sites are throwing thousands, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which adds up to be millions when you look at the amount of creators that they're giving this to stay on the platform. But the gripe is all the same across the board. You could talk to Black creators in Africa. You could talk to Black creators in the South, in the North. It doesn't matter what part of the region of the country. Everybody's saying the same thing. The algorithm is working against us. Mm-hmm. And even in the cases when you're reaching far and wide, for some reason, you're not monetizing in the same way your white counterparts are. So while, yes, social media is revolutionary in some regard, it wasn't around 20 years ago. It is still perpetuating the same systematic oppression against Black people that other systems have historically perpetuated.
It's like this, and we're going to go to a break and give Rebecca Azor a few more minutes to keep Rebecca Azoring. She's on her way. It's like the algorithm. It's like complaining. No, here it is. The algorithm of America is so finely attuned to white supremacy that y'all are now stuck with the village idiot, mush-mouth Neanderthals like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? That's how far the algorithm is tilted in favor of whiteness, that y'all are now dealing with the dregs of society. They have been taken all the way to the White House in the form of Donald Trump. I mean, your deplorables are running your party. right? On the other end of the spectrum, I mean, you could be as dope as the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, as Georgia Ford, On the Clock, as Rebecca Zor, Like It or Not, and DJ Exclusive, and the algorithm will look at you like, that's cute. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you're not. You're going to get 300 viewers this morning. You know. In the meantime, you get some clown who can barely conjugate a verb. Look like meth has hit him across the face a couple times, and he gets millions of viewers in no time flat. Listen, they got nothing to complain about over there. DJ Exclusive, let's go to a break, man. Let's light them up, do some music, do what you do. We're going to give Rebecca Zor a few more minutes. When we come back, it's time for Like It or Not, whether we like it or not. We'll be back after this.
You can't stand, man. All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all keep it locked. Rebecca will be joining us. So y'all stay tuned.
Stepping on necks, low baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out, now that's a big flex. Peeping out my Uber window, like what's next? Got new levels and new devils out the wazoo. Ain't no worries, life gets better when you find you. And if you mind you, peace will abide and hide you until it's time to start anew. So live it up, be grown, ain't got no curfew. Who brought the bad vibes? Tell that bitch move. Walking all in my inner, that's a bitch move. Pressed that I arrive, mad that I survive. All your sad attempts to send me to the sky. But I've been in the wind, been had wings, I was always this fly. Oh yes, and that's probably why you're mad. Don't let Evie turn you into a trash bag. So get glad, find out why you sad. All that jealousy, you should
Laverne Rose, good morning.
It's time to turn that mirror on you. Put it up close for a clear view. And look deep down inside. And soon you will find a pretty soul that needs more shine.
Jenny, good morning. You got my little bubble dance. Kareem Ransom, good morning to you. And yeah, I agree with Georgia, man. I would rather know who these white supremacists are in Congress and the Senate. Get it on out there. Show your true cards. It's okay. Be your true, authentic, racist self. Period.
Always pressed about my life. Talking with your frenemies about me, saying, ooh, girl, have you seen it like the shine lights? You tried, but you could never dim my light. Please know I'm a touchable girl. I'll slip through your fingers like a real fly kite. Why you wanna turn a good day into fight night?
Dwayne, I just had a special moment, Dwayne.
Take that bad energy and go and get your mind right. Say a prayer tonight.
How do you make the number one disappear?
World of danger, cause you dwell in that drama. I put the work in, now I got the big bags that you call.
No, you just add a G and it's gone. You see the special moment? The G's the one gone. Yeah. Y'all thought that in 2022 that these jokes is gonna stop? Hell no. My wife thinks I don't give her enough privacy. At least that's what she said in her diary. Latino Fune, good morning. Hey man, y'all know I have no sense already, man. Good morning again, everyone. Make sure that y'all stay tuned. Rebecca will be joining us next on the Benjamin Dixon Morning. Good morning.
Brand new roller, swipe at the G-Shock. Moving slowly, I know the street hype. No more double, go ahead and detox. Yeah. Came from the trenches, they ain't showing us no love. Dagging in the city, all we wanted was a hug, yeah. We on the block like every night to catch a buzz. Get the cash and take my family out of the hood, that's a must. Good baby with no soldiers. Bad past never left my mind, it's taking over. No, I should've died, that's why it's hard to stay sober. Glad to see the sun, but my heart getting colder. Life's so crazy, what we been through. When you die, the only time that they gon' miss you.
So let me tell y'all about my shopping experience. So like the other day I bought a thesaurus, but when I got home and opened it, all the pages were blank. I'm like, what the hell? I have no words to describe how angry I am. Brother Chuck Diesel, what's going on, Brother Chuck? Happy New Year to you. Brand C, good morning. Case, what's going on? A.R. Walker, on it goes. Good morning. Esther Brooks, Alicia. Blind Mellow Jelly, good morning. Blind Mellow Jelly, man. I hear they're developing a mind-controlled air freshener. Yes, that's right. A mind-controlled air freshener. It makes sense when you think about it. Y'all didn't get it. It makes sense. What's to be good? Good morning to you. Oh, Kelly Low Games. She said, why 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. I got chocolate bars.
I am your DJ exclusive. Y'all know I am. I stay back to them jams. Like it or not, it's going down.
Dragon said, I have versions, son. Versions.
Y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to start the show with Rebecca Azor. Whether
you like it or not, no, I don't.
And we hope Rebecca likes it.
They shut them bars down because of COVID.
Oh,
man. Not really. They still open.
I know, right? They don't care. They don't care. DJ Exclusive, we are giving Rebecca a little bit more time to Rebecca Azor, her way onto the screen. It wouldn't be the start of the year without Rebecca doing her thing. So the most brilliant.
Rebecca Azor is the Azoring.
Azoring.
That was a good one.
In the most magnificent way. My brilliant but untimely sister will be here momentarily. In the meantime, we had to start the show because the show's almost over.
Right. Ben, you woke up and chose violence this morning. Okay, with you today, bro.
I honestly choose violence every day, but for every my day. Kids, thank God for kids and deliverance. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a brawler, not a baller, but a brawler, because I would take on. Somebody need to put Jake Paul. Somebody need to beat him. It ain't nobody beating him right now. So he's just going on a world tour.
He's offering to get beaten. Well, he claims he's still going to KO, but he's offering a real fight.
I think if you flip my height, you get his height. So I was just joking, Jake Paul. I don't want to fight you, but somebody needs to beat your ass.
I mean, Ben, go ahead and fight, bro. Ben, just go ahead and fight. Get 10 seconds and get millions, and then
hey.
So the way it's
damn that, Jake Paul, I'll fight.
Nobody gonna beat him the way it's set up now because it's in the contract that they can't beat him.
It's in the contract that they can't beat him.
I mean, it's not in the public
F1 while we're talking about it.
It's not in the public contract, but it's they gonna make sure he don't lose
because he's too hot of a commodity right now.
Yeah, he's bringing in a lot of money. Yeah.
So, David, what's the story with Jake Paul? He's offering to retire from boxing and fight Jorge Masvidal. Come on, help me with that last name, somebody. Masvidal.
Yeah.
In the UFC, if Dana White agrees to the following demands. Here are his demands: guarantee UFC fighters 50% of the UFC annual revenues. Increase fighter pay to $50,000 per fight. Minimum is currently $12,000. Provide long-term health care to fighters. And then there's an expanded description. He wants to increase. He wants to increase the minimum pay for the fighters.
If you skip down past number 3.
These are the good things. He said you have 5 days. These are demands for real. He said you have 5 days to accept and to implement the above by March 31st, 2022. Once implemented, I will immediately retire from boxing, enter USADA, and agree to a one-fight deal with UFC to fight Weak
Chin George.
Weak Chin. I did not see that coming.
So it's crazy because the things that he's asking of Dana White is all great things. Like, this is stuff that needs to happen for the UFC fighters because they out there putting their lives on the line for our entertainment and making pennies. But he's a clown, man. He's a clown. I kind of hope Dana White takes his offer. One, because it'd be good for the UFC fighters, but two, Jorge Masvidal would tear that man apart.
Is that why he wants to fight him?
I feel like he wants to fight him because he wants to legitimize his fighting career, but it's it wouldn't be.
I wish I was a little bit taller. But somebody, I don't know what you do. What you do? Is tell me more about these contracts behind the scene, because somebody can beat him, but you're saying, but likely, like maybe he's too much of a commodity to take a chin. All his fights have been set up. Well, majority of his fights have been set up like those exhibitions, like when Floyd was fighting people and it was in the contract, it was only going a certain amount of rounds and there wasn't going to be any scorecards and things like that. So like it's set up to be a spectacle, to be a show. But I feel like, I can't prove it, but I feel like it's in the contracts that they can't knock him out. Like I feel that.
There's been people that should have beat up on him but haven't. And
I know who can
like,
whip his ass.
Who's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish that though.
I was just gonna say I feel like this show he's putting on is taking away from all the legitimate boxers out there who aren't getting the recognition and kind of the publicity that they deserve. Like, it's a lot of good fighters out there, and this is like a crappy person.
Yeah. It's a crappy person with a good PR team who has they found a nice way for a jerk. I'm just calling him a jerk. I was going to call him a jackass. I'll call him a jerk. They found a way for a jerk ass to come off nice because he's asking for things that, quite frankly, UFC y'all should do. Right? This is what he's asking for. Yeah, nobody should be out there taking it on the chin and getting knocked out for $12,000 on any night, ever.
Because I know some people that take it on the chin, they get way more than that.
Come on, man. I hate you, James.
Good night, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
I tried my best to legitimize that if it wasn't a double entendre, but I legitimized it even more by saying amen at the most inopportune time. But I digress. That said,
welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year.
Nobody should be taking it on the chin for $12,000. I mean, Trina said 25 G's for. Never mind. If you can't tell, I am from the hood. I'm hood adjacent. No, I graduated from being hood. I graduated from being hood adjacent to living in the hood for a week. I got the hell out of there. 6 days, I got the hell out of there. But let me tell you about the hood. Since we're talking about the hood and we're talking about people who could whip Jake Paul's ass, Pompano Beach, Florida is where our next story goes. And I'm from Pompano Beach. We affectionately refer to Pompano Beach as the ugly corner. Down there by Omar's, down there by the train tracks over there by Ely High School. It's a rough neighborhood. Ely High, simply short, going to make you happy and you know it. Kodak Black from
That damn
Pompano.
Kodak.
Went to the same high school I went to, generation apart. He got arrested in Pompano. Kodak, I know Pompano very well. Bro, what you doing in Pompano? Stay out of Pompano. You make too much money. Nah, let me leave my people in Pompano. Love Pompano. Great city. You just can't be on the ugly corner. Run the clip showing us why. Give us some information on Kodak Black getting his butt arrested down in Pompano. Wait, I can't hear him though.
Shoot. I'm like, yo.
Wait a minute. Wait,
hold
come
on,
back.
Hold on. I got you.
Back it up.
Good music, bro, and it's positivity, fam. And that's it. And just be giving back to the hood, well, the surrounding communities now. Cause I ain't going back to the hood, bro. I guess that's for, like, something to really show me to stay out of the hood, fam. Like, then what just happened with that the other little rapper dude in his hood and shit. I ain't never take nothing. All the when rappers be down in their hood, I ain't never looked at that to make me stay out my hood, because I know, like, everybody love me around here. You know what I'm saying? And plus, I'm on some, like I'll get on some gangster shit, but I don't want to be on no gangster shit right now. But anyway, like, you know that, like, everybody love me and I love everybody, so I don't be thinking that, like, I shouldn't be in the hood. But
that's a lot.
But I guess that was an eye opener to show me, like, man, bitch, I'm growing up now. Got people depending on me. This shit more bigger than the hood now. This shit more bigger than me now. You know what I'm saying?
You got some nice roofs, ceilings.
Like, just fall back from the hood for a little bit until, like, we get this shit figured out. Until, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like, just fall back from the hood right quick.
That's right.
The hood gonna always be here. The hood gonna always love you, yeah.
So, okay, hold on.
That was a lot.
Before you get serious on this topic, every time I look at Kodak Black, I think of this right here.
Oh my God.
Oh. Wait, we're Rugrats. Wait a minute. For the listening audience. Hey, what's the name of this character?
I don't know. It's the doll. It's the doll.
It's the doll.
Isn't it? I think
what's the name?
It's Cynthia or Cynthia's doll or something like that.
What was the activating girl?
Cynthia doll.
Kind of remember.
Oh my goodness. For the listening audience, I apologize. You got to see the hair is one of the
waiting for that
one. And I wasn't going to get serious just yet, Dwayne, because I had no idea what the hell that brother said. All I heard was fall back from the hood, and I think that's some great advice. You know, Pompano is a particular type of city. Love it. And I know the people in Pompano love you, Kodak Black. And I love your work too, man, with some problematic places that you have, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, fall back from the hood. Fall back from the hood, because don't nobody, a prophet is without honor in his own hood. It's basically what the Bible said. You famous, you popular, you think, just fall back, recalibrate, and get out of there. And you know, I'm not going to talk bad about this man's hair, because I want to be able to go to Pompano too, because I'm from there, and I
exactly.
So I'm not going to say nothing bad about Kodak Black on there.
So the chats are saying that it was hard for them to grasp what he was saying. I don't know how the audio came through on our line. I know I had a similar experience to Ben, but I had the misfortune of listening to this like 2 or 3 times. So essentially, he was talking about. So essentially,
it took you like 4 times, David.
No. I was trying to figure out what to clip, because this is not the whole clip.
Oh,
he spent at least 5 minutes in front of the mirror in his bathroom changing.
His ceilings are nice though. There's some dope ceilings he got in there.
It is.
Go ahead,
David. Look, I thought it took David 4 times to understand and comprehend. I'm like, that's about right. Let me stop playing.
No, I did have to play it back for some of it, but no, it was more like
James. I don't know if I can pass that test.
It was a long clip.
I was going to ask him to play it back for me.
If that is a black card test, I think I failed. So, David, after doing your you're doing your analysis on black vernacular, what did you discover?
In essence, he's not going back to the hood for a while. He's staying away from the hood until something gets cleared up, I think, until he basically can change his image or change what people think of him or whatever the rumors had, because he didn't say why he got arrested or where he was that he got arrested for trespassing.
Yeah.
But he basically said he doesn't belong in the hood with everything that he's got going on. And later in the clip, we didn't include this part, but he asked just to be allowed to blossom. He wants to blossom.
Wait a minute.
So
it was is he the one that just had the birthday party with his son dancing on an adult dancer?
No, that was Boosie.
Oh yeah,
that was Boosie black ass.
But Kodak, he got Trump commuted his sentence. I think he had a
right.
I don't know if it was I don't remember what the charge was, but he was one of the celebrities that Trump commuted, and now he's still getting arrested.
And Ben, I don't know if you remember too, I think last year sometime or the year before last, they honored him. I don't know if it was at his old high school or something. I don't know if you remember that. I know we covered it on the show. Yeah, they did something where he was doing something for the community.
Y'all, I got bad news for you. It actually was Kodak Black who got a stripper for his son's birthday party. It just happened this past.
Oh, it happened again. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So
how old is his son?
A baby.
What's a baby though? Because
7.
Oh, okay.
8.
So that's a little young. Because I ain't gonna lie.
9. Like how old is boy?
If somebody
10?
got me a stripper for my birthday when I was like 15, 16, I would have been excited.
Yeah, man. But come on, man. That's. I mean, look. Yeah, this is exactly the one. This is him. I'll send you the picture from. Actually, I'm not. Well, his son's face is not blurred out. So I'm not going to send you the picture because his son's face is not blurred out. But that's exactly the picture I was thinking. I knew there was something about Kodak Black that I didn't like.
But look, Ben, and I see Q is in the chat room. This is one of Q's favorite rappers, and I know that's a Florida thing, man. That's literally a Florida thing where they're going to get they 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old sons a stripper for their birthday. I know a lot of people that have done it.
Look, bro. Look. Now, listen. Just in case somebody is new to the show and have no idea who I am, I'm the last person that's going to cast judgment on anybody's proclivities, especially as it pertains to these aunties out here who are working their butts off at the strip clubs for y'all janky asses. I'm not judging anybody. But if you're doing it with kids, you don't need to have kids. Because that's abuse, man. That little boy, I will share the picture, but the picture of the boy is not blurred out. And you got, somebody who, as a grown man, looks quite good. Bent over, touching the toes. Throw that ass back and get low, right? But not an 8, 9-year-old baby. Kodak. Maybe the reason you got arrested for trespassing because you got, man, listen, I don't want to go down this road because this, I want to be able to go back to Pompano one day.
Right, Ben. I'm about to say they about to take your car, bro. Like I said, man, that's a Zoe thing. That's that culture. Man. It ain't right. They ain't saying that it's right, but that's that culture.
All right, well, then I'm gonna mind my business. But it ain't gonna be done around me. It'd be one
thing if they got a gun and gave it to the little boy and say, "Hey, why don't you go out here and shoot somebody?"
Well, now, okay. But I agree with the underlying argument there, James, because we as a country, we're so much more comfortable with kids expressing themselves through violence than kids even having any concept of sexuality, right? I can't disagree with you there. But the little boy looked like he about 9 years old. He ain't even big enough to see over her ass, let alone smack.
Because trust me, I've heard stories already from down there. One of my little nephews cutting up. So trust me, it's unfortunately.
Well, that's not the story we're talking about today. The story we're talking about today is he got arrested for trespassing. So be careful out there in Pompano, man. It's a rough town, but I love it.
He was trespassing at, especially Kodak.
Omar's. He was trying to get them chicken gizzards. They were closed. Listen,
I think he was supposed to be at Kanye's New Year's Eve party, actually, but he wasn't there. He was getting arrested.
He got him. Listen now. Anyway,
The hell, Kanye, you know what? They have so many questions. It's so many. He just added a whole nother layer to it. You said Kanye and Pompano?
And Kanye opened.
Well, you know, Pompano is just a sneeze away from Fort Lauderdale in Miami. So we used to get up. We used to get up at midnight and leave from West Palm Beach and get to Miami Beach by 1 a.m. So he probably could, you know, Kanye could have been on South Beach for that matter.
Kanye had his party. He didn't even, I think he sprung it. It was like an unannounced party. It was like a pop-up, and he did it like in the same area that, what's his name? Kim's current boyfriend.
Pete Davidson.
Thank you. He was having his New Year's Eve party, and Kanye decided to compete.
Bro, you know what that sounds like to me?
Bruh.
That sounds exactly like the January 6th anniversary coming up here. Joe Biden said, I'm going to do a speech. And now Donald Trump says, hey, I'm going to do a speech too. So you said Kanye West threw a surprise party across the street from Pete Davidson's house?
Not across the street, but yeah, he basically said, I'm coming to the same city that Pete Davidson is doing his party at.
Kanye toxic as hell, boy. That man toxic as shit. Cause and then you bought a whole house across the street.
Yeah.
From your soon-to-be ex-wife, bro. You toxic. Just let it go.
Well, I would do that. I dig that though. I listen. The reason I would do that is because if Kanye's like me, he want to see his little knuckleheaded babies every.
Man, damn that bitch. You know that's why Kanye ain't did that shit. Kanye needs some help. That man screaming for some damn help. He don't want to see them damn kids. He trying to get that booty back.
We're gonna go one step further since we're here. Somebody said this whole thing is orchestrated. Actually, James, I think you said it. This whole thing is orchestrated to take attention away from the Travis Scott thing that happened over in Texas, right? So
that wasn't me, but that makes sense.
Somebody said that. I'm like,
because I was just thinking about it last week. Like, damn, haven't heard anything at all about the Travis Scott incident. Haven't heard anything else about it. No news, no nothing.
Because everybody's so interested in who Kim Kardashian is with all of a sudden. I mean, she's all right. You know,
we got very short attention spans in this country.
3 weeks. I've noticed 3 weeks. 3 weeks is about the longest people can remember something without being.
Yes.
You have to piss people off every 3 weeks for them to remember. Otherwise, they forget.
Man, I would even go as far as to say 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks tops. That's all you get.
3 or 4 days in some cases.
Yeah. Right. So funny how easily we forget what this country has done to us, right? We forget what a person has done to us. You know, you start having those fond memories, James, of that old person. You know, the further away you get from what they did to you, the easier it is for you to be like, you know, give them another chance. Works the same. That's the Stockholm Syndrome, man.
Damn, bro. That's deep, man.
That's what Revel Day was singing about at the top of the show. Look at how that worked out. Man, we so beat down in this country. Because really think about it. Can any of us think above or further than like 30 days beyond our bills?
Damn, bro.
Nobody. We can't think past 30 days. We all just running in a cycle, forgetting
Damn,
all the
man.
stuff they've been doing every step of the way. Yeah. I'm
sitting here like really trying to think about like the last 30 days. Okay, I remember it only because of the vacation. That's the only reason I remember.
I was about to say, James, how can
But still, it's like it's like scattered. Like it's really scattered.
30 days is the max. I would say 2. David, you might be right. 2 weeks. And the way I know this, when I had a quarantine, listen, long story. I'm going to tell it quick. I was so busy doing my journalism thing that I got disconnected from my kids when I came to Atlanta because I was just down here grinding, just working. The pandemic put me back in the household with my kids, and it took me a while, but I finally remembered, holy crap, I don't care about journalism. I want to raise my kids, right? I had a quarantine for 3 weeks after going to Cleveland, covering the race with Nina Turner. I had a quarantine for 2 weeks, and then because of travel, it ended up being 3 weeks. And I noticed that connection. 3 weeks, you started forgetting the feeling that you had back when you last left them. And so I just figured, man, these people who run this country, they really know the way they get away with murder, the way they get away with it is by keeping us in this little 3 week cycle. We don't even remember the trauma. Doesn't January 6th seem like 3 years ago?
Bruh, yes.
And that's also why like Bezos ignores scandals or other people or Musk or any president or any politician, because they know the scandal will be focused on. At worst, it'll be a couple of weeks and then it's going to be over until next time.
I've learned the art of not forgetting. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. God gonna forgive you and forget, not me. I'm making a list and I'm checking that bitch twice for everything that occurred in 2021. And we're going to make sure that we don't forget it, because if we forget it, one, it helps me be petty and really vindictive. It's not really the best traits in humanity to remember everything that people did to you, but I digress. But if we don't remember, then we don't recover. We don't learn. They get to treat us like this again. Okay, case in point, black votes in our vote. Black people in our vote. Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are counting on us forgetting, because their next election is not until 2025. It really only takes 3 weeks to forget how bad they were to us. I'm the petty type of person that's going to remind you every 3 weeks.
Hey,
all the way through 2025.
Thank you. Please do. Like, never forget. Especially that one. That's something I won't forget.
Ever, ever, ever.
On that,
ever.
It is 10:07. We got a couple of things to talk about. Well, actually, Ben, you might want to make the announcement about next week, and then we can switch to after party.
Listen, we're going to go to the after party. We are going to a 4-day show. We're going to give us all the same day off, which is going to be Mondays, because F Mondays. But we're going to have something here for the community, where you Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all that. We're going to have a stream on that day, but we will not be live. We're going to be live Tuesday through Friday, and we're going to be live with the whole team, kind of like we did today. We start off with the Benjamin Dixon Show. We're going to add Georgia Fort on the clock. We bring in DJ Exclusive. Then we're going to add Rebecca Azor. And then when Brother Mac is here, he'll be here tomorrow. We'll have the whole family on board by the end of the show, so we can have the realest conversations that you have not had. All right? The conversations that people are not having. That's what we're going to do here by the time the show is over. And that's starting next Monday. No live show, but there will be something here for the community to commune together. Anything else I got to remember, David?
Nope, that's it. Let's go to the after party.
Well, Rebecca Azored her way through the entire episode.
Azored the whole way.
The whole way through the episode. So she'll be here tomorrow, if not during the after party. David, Dwayne, we're in your hands. DJ Exclusive, take us to the after party.
Oh, I forgot about the song.
Dwayne! Hold it!
Hate that man so much. Man, thank y'all so much again for tuning in and joining us this morning on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Shout out to Georgia Fort with On the Clock and Rebecca Azor, will like it or not, who did not bring her ass, but that's okay. She'll be here tomorrow, y'all. So y'all make sure that y'all stay tuned. We are heading over to the after party, where it's going to go down. So make sure that y'all join, man. If you're not, patreon.com/liking or not, patreon.com/the BBD show. We will see y'all after party. If not, we will see y'all tomorrow. And your affirmation for today, for all my people that won't be joining this, is simple. I will be successful. Your affirmation, I will be successful. God, go be great, man. Have a great day. Go be awesome. See y'all at that party. Peace.